Alrighty folks, my name is Jeremy. I own this lovely Jeep junkyard. Had it for, doing this for 19 years. And you didn't come here to look at it, Jeeps or Jeep parts. But just give you a little bit of our background and then also kind of why we actually got this thing. So we've owned this thing since 2017. And when we got it, a roof was put on, just at maintenance. It was whatever they call that. And we mainly bought it because we were living in Denver, north of Denver. Obviously we were planning on having babies at some point, which we ended up having 2 kiddos, one in 2020 and then one just this year. And wanted a way to travel initially. And it ended up working out because almost right after we bought this, we were able to find this yard. We didn't own our property in Denver, and we were paying a hefty lease on it, plus our home. So we found this place, and this really turned into our saving grace because it's a big enough unit, especially with this slide, which is a massive slide, that we can live in it. We temporarily lived in it for about 6 months, and it was built well enough that even through a Colorado winter, to live in and out of, it was actually really nice. I was really surprised. So I would say that's probably at this point probably what it's going to serve a really good purpose for, but you can still drive it down the road too. And matter of fact, I want to quickly touch base on kind of what makes this thing unique. Not that it's the only one out there, by no means. This will be a fairly lengthy video. I'm going to go inside. I'll go over all the goods. I'll go over anything that it's going to need. And anything that it needs is just more or less service stuff. Not service on the motor. Matter of fact, the motor, when I was coming back from Yellowstone, in 2020, because my son was born, it was July. Unfortunately, when you break down, it always happens in the most worst places. And I had gotten out of Yellowstone. I was in actually the Flaming Gorge area, which is a few hours from where we live. So it wasn't super far from home, but it was far enough. I heard a noise, and the bearing that holds the cooling fan, normally there's like a clutch on a normal vehicle, fan clutch, but these don't use those because since they're pushers, there's constantly air flowing there, so there's a big bearing that holds that fan still, and that had gone bad. I heard something, and I went a little further, and then I looked down and was like, okay, that must have been something, because I actually got out when I heard the noise and looked around. Everything looked great. Motor still sounded fine, and I couldn't tell a single thing. And I think I went about 5 miles, and I'm one of those guys that's constantly watching gauges and looking down and just, noises and anything else. And noticed that I was pulling a hill, and that's always when I'm really watching, especially temp gauge. But I noticed that it was getting a little hot, a little faster. And when I say hot, I'm talking, 210s running temp. I was at 220 and just barely getting going. So immediately I pulled over and started fishing around and just looking, because at that point I kind of was like, normally before I'm climbing a hill, it's at 180, 190, 200, maybe 210 if it's really hot out. But as I'm just starting the hill out, and I know this just from driving this thing, I know it really well. So anyway, long story short, that bearing had gone bad. That fan went literally through the radiator and some of the intercooler. It was still intact, and intercooler, you're going to know or guess what this thing has in it, which is the glorious 5.9 Cummins diesel, which is in a few of my things. This is one of the most indestructible engines, as long as it's obviously cared for, that you can possibly own. And it also has an Allison automatic tranny, so it is really the best of every world. Unfortunately, on that trip, and fortunately for you or anybody who buys this, you won't have to do anything from that bearing forward all the way to the back. And I'll go back there in a second and we can talk a little bit more about everything that was replaced on it. But overall, it's in good shape. It is a 99, so it's showing its age in some places. Over the years, we've done, like I said, a lot of service work. We've a couple sets of tires, ACs, water tank heater, and just miscellaneous little stuff, and then of course the engine stuff. But otherwise, she's literally one of the most solid running machines, equipment, homes, recreation, whatever you want to call it, that we've ever owned. I kid you not, this thing will start up. It can sit for 8 months. It's not plugged in at all out here. It may not even have a block heater on. I'm not even sure. It can be dead of winter, 10 below. You can literally come out, heat those glow plugs up, and this thing will kick over and fire up. I haven't even put that many batteries. I think it's had one set of batteries in the entire time we've owned it. It does have solar, which helps maintain those batteries so they don't freeze. And it's got a gigantic solar panel on top, and that's been awesome to have too. So that was all on it when we got it. So I think I have the keys on me. Trying to think what the best way to do. I guess I'll just go ahead and fire it up, and then we can walk around the back and you can hear her. Other than looking at the gauges, there's no way really for you to. I like to do videos. I do videos on all my ads. A photo can say something, but a video really helps, I think. And I've done them for years, and people always seem to like these. So I'm gonna move the seat back just a little bit. My long legs. So all right. So that temp gauge there. It says it's warm, but it ain't. That should go to 0 here. This is the first time it's been started. Probably in a couple weeks, actually. My wife cleaned it up. Yeah, so. And I want to make a quick comment on that air. I had to put a compressor on this thing. I had a little scary of an incident. The compressor on this guy is mounted to the motor, which is awesome. It's a heavy duty one. But I literally was driving it over where I grew up, about 40 miles, 50 miles from here, and heard kind of what you're hearing right now. And that's all those lights that just came on are just to show you they're working. That was a low water light. Obviously it's not low water. Turned off. That's a park light. That just tells you your e-brake's on, which is an air brake. Good oil pressure. Battery's good, and then your temp. You know, this will take these don't run all that hot, so it won't probably even sitting here get very warm. And I mean, you could run for an hour and it could still be like where the N is. You start driving down the highway, they'll go up a little bit. You might be maybe the O or the R even, but really that's like the running temp. Start pulling passes. I always downshift her to get that fan spinning, matching the RPMs, but you can see how steady she is. So, so what you're hearing right now, obviously that went up. So that was holding air, which is incredible, because normally even especially on an old system, they'll bleed off to 0. And that, you see how quickly it went 50, and it'll sit right here, about 120, I think, is when it gets finally done here in a moment. And then you're still going to hear a couple things. The tone is not going to go away because it's telling us our jacks are down. Okay, these are a fully hydraulic jack system. This thing, when I tell you it has every bell and whistle, it really does. So, and on top of that, it has a full hydraulic leveling system in it. Okay, you can completely dump the bags. They work. You can hear them. Okay, lowering it down, hit travel. Now, put that slide in, but I'm pretty level here, so it's not a big deal. I like to be as level as possible when I extend the slide out. And this basically gets you here, so I can literally get to camp and have this thing set up in about 7-8 minutes. I've timed myself just because it's always been such a cool thing. I don't have to go outside at all. I can literally roll in, dump the bags. So now it's basically dumping the bags just implies that it's all the way down. The airbags aren't added up, and this thing is so comfortable to drive because of those airbags. It almost feels like you're just on a big boat in a way, and not in a bad way. Just like it just floats along, and that's great because I have another work truck and it rides like a cement truck, and it's got air ride too, but nothing like this. This is the fancy. So this is your slide out here, because it thinks we're setting up camp right now. It's telling you, well, actually these guys just tell you your jacks are down. So it's been sitting a while. If it sits for very many months, usually I get a jack or two hanging up. You literally can take, what I usually just have with me, depends. You can look down there. If they're not hanging too bad, like they're pretty high up, and see if it's even like an inch down, it's gonna register down, these guys. So there's two things you can do. If you are in a hurry, I always check, obviously, to make sure, but if they're up there and they're just hanging that last bit, I just drive it. It'll shake them and they'll get up in there and they'll turn off and that noise will go away. But if I have the time, which I usually try to do, if it's an emergency, it would be different, but I have a broom we bring with us, sweep things out, but they literally take no upward pressure, and you can just leverage them up and course them up the rest of the way. You can put heavier springs, replace the springs on them. That probably would help. They just never seem to need, because like I said, they do retract all the way up until the last bit, and sometimes this doesn't even, but if it's been sitting, especially down in the dirt, it will definitely hang up a little bit. So anyway, that gives you, so when your jacks are out, okay, and I am going to kind of demonstrate this best I can. So let's just hypothetically say we pulled into camp and I dumped the bags, which is already on. I'm going to go over here, okay, and if you probably can't see, but what it's telling me right here on these lights, it's telling me where I'm not level. So it tells me that my front is lower than my rear. Now, first and foremost, I don't really even pay attention to this yet, because you can hear it kind of, hopefully, the hydraulic. And the reason I don't, you hear that little bit of a strain it made, okay? That's just telling you your jacks are on the ground. I'm not paying anything attention to the leveling right now. All I'm doing is getting my jacks, we'll wait for it here. Okay, so you hear that little bit of strain. Now, interesting enough, nope, it's still down a little bit. Okay, so the reason I do it that way is so that no matter what, even if let's say I pull into camp and I'm perfectly level, I always set my jacks, because if it's windy, or if you're walking around, in our case we got a toddler, so it will feel as firm as a home if those jacks are down. It will move, like a trailer, or rock like a trailer, if there's no jacks down. So that's the reason, right? You're probably used to that. I'm probably explaining things you don't need to know, but if you've never been in an RV or wonder how it works, that's all it is. From there, now that I have everything down, I'm gonna go here. I'm just gonna go forward, okay? And you'll hear it again here in a second. And all we're gonna do is lift the nose up. I'm waiting for that. It's kind of hard to see this angle, but wait for that little light to go out. There we go. Okay. So the light's out here, and there's no other lights on these. That means we're perfectly level right now. And when I say that, it's spot on. This thing is amazing with its level. So that horn is obnoxious. I'm going to kill it here in a second. But I just wanted to show you that and how that worked. The slide is a hydraulic slide. Okay, this is the way to go. It's got, you want hydraulic on everything. You don't want electric. You don't want or air or anything like that. Hydraulic is the way to go. It's the industrial standard for semis. This is what you want. I mean, I guess air wouldn't be too bad. I'm not a huge fan of air. Brakes are great, but that's about it. I don't want anything else that's airlined, especially little airlines, because they tend to be a little more fragile in the heat and the cold. So, okay, the T-handle for the shifter is not here. Okay, it did come with one. It was broken when we got it, and it was just kind of electrical taped on it. It may not, I can just push in. It's not very hard to do, and then that will get me into my fork drive position. If you lose this thing, you're gonna be shit out of luck. I hate, excuse my French, but you'd have to make a rod, and it'd have to be that diameter. Length doesn't really matter, but it will not allow you to shift it without that. That's an important piece of that. And yes, now these are old enough that I'm starting to see these used on eBay. This is just a little console thing. If you could just find the T-handle or make one, it's just got to, I even thought about using the Jeep one, but I haven't got around to it. Because the T-handle ship style, it's a button here that kind of pushes down here. It's essentially the same thing, so you can probably come up with something there. I've literally had this thing like this since I've owned it day one, and it's never bugged me. I use my palm. It's springy, it's not hard to do, and you can get all the way down. The only thing is, when you get down to first, if you're going down a real steep hill or up the real steep hill, it's at such an angle that I usually pull it out because it will fall out. Now that's the other, once you're in your drive gears, you can move through these ones without it, but to go to these guys, you need this guy. So don't lose this guy. That's a big thing, okay? And I know that seems silly not to have fixed, but again, it's just never bugged me. So I've had brand new windshields. They were, I thought, clean, but not, obviously, so I need to wipe them down. But these are brand new glass. They were put in a couple years ago. There's no cracks, there's no rock chips, there's no nothing, okay? Was not cheap to replace glass in this thing, but really, really is high up enough that you don't take a lot of road rocks from this thing. At least it's never been a problem for us, so. And insurance, guys, a lot of insurance, RV policies will cover glass replacement, so keep that in mind. I think ours did. We had to wait a certain amount of time, but okay. It has AC, but it's not hooked up. That kind of goes back to when I blew that radiator. I did not choose to replace it. It never really worked that well, to be quite honest with you. It usually, if it was real hot out, we kicked on the generator, which is a propane generator. It's an Onan, and it will run both of your big compressor, your big ACs on the roof up here, and that thing will cool you down plenty. If you're real hot, this thing ain't gonna do anything. It's enough for heat. Heating works great up here, and it'll keep you okay. Although I'll tell you, on real cold days, it's even kind of insufficient for that. Obviously, you can't be running your heater back there, so I usually just have a little blanket up here if I get real cold. It's obviously not necessarily a winter mobile, but there's those times when you got to run around in the winter, so that's what I do. So that's kind of a tray desk area. A couple little wear and tear items. The vents have some cracks around them. It should look like that. They're kind of chipped up. Okay, it's got a really nice sound system in it. You can see speakers. That was all done before we got in. It's got a rear view camera up here, which you can't really even see, but it is on. It's got a shadow right now on it, so. The stereo, like I said, it works. It's got a USB port and a auxiliary. This is your generator. Okay, that will start your generator up. These are your fans, which is that, and actually that's usually that. And a window, even on a real hot day, there's plenty of breeze usually. Fog lamps are that switch. This is a auxiliary, so that basically you can have your stereo on. I'm not gonna do it right now because it kills the power to the bus, but when the thing is off, actually I can show you in here in a second. Aux battery, this is basically a switcher, like a jumper switch. And then this guy here, you would just hold this down. If you ever run your batteries down because you're messing with the stereo or something, this will pull off your coach batteries and allow you to start it. So there's like a backup, and there's a ton of batteries on this thing because of that. So it's got a driver door that opens. That's kind of a rare thing. You don't see that on a lot of older RVs. And that's nice, especially if you're at fuel You don't have to get up and all the way out the back. I love having the driver door. It's one of my favorite things about this thing. It's got a nice window that rolls up and down. Get a nice breeze out of it, and yada yada yada. So I think that's all we need it running for. But even in this time, like I told you, that guy's, we're 20 minutes running or so, and 15 or so, and it's still, so it does run cool, which is nice. And it should, after we did everything to that area of it. So okay, and then you have your wiper and your lights, your headlights there, turn signals. It does have cruise control. That may seem silly, but on the older models, it's not common. It's not a standard on everything. It does have a tilt wheel, which is super nice. And one more thing here, besides the air brake, it has a Jake brake on it. And this is a factory Jake brake installed. And you just flip it up. You can run with it on. I usually don't. It's not going to kick on right now at idle. It only does it when you're in drive and at a certain speed. You'll hear it come on. It's not super loud, but it's loud enough to know that it's working. It's a super, going down mountain passes, you literally don't have to touch the brakes. You can click that thing on and be absolutely fine. If you're pulling trailer or something, you know, a little bit of braking down, a shift down, but usually that is plenty, so it works really well. And the reason I don't run with it all the time on, if you're not really good with turning things on and off, then just run with it on. But if you're like me and you are, then I only turn on when I'm going downhill or when I'm trying to slow down. I know there's like heavy traffic or something, I need a little assistance. The reason I don't do this is because if you forget it, it's on and you don't have cruise control on. If you have cruise control on, it'll override it and it will kick this off. If you hit the fuel pedal, if you're hitting the fuel pedal, it'll kick this off. It only comes on when you let off the gas pedal, or the fuel pedal, and it automatically comes on. But if you're cruising and you don't remember and you're kind of up and down, you know, blah, blah, it will kick on when you don't want it to. So I leave that off. Okay, so that's quite a bit of information as far as that goes. It's literally starts on a dime. It's got power mirrors on it. It's got heated power mirrors. Nice cubby area here. It's got a pretty crazy, that I don't even really know how it works. I've never really done it. Entertainment system up here. It's got, this is the cover's coming off, but yeah, big old switchboard, which is kind of old crap in it. I mean, not crap, I mean, but you probably aren't gonna run this kind of stuff. You can really slim a lot of this down, which is, we bought a little one so my wife can drive it. My wife can't really drive this one. She scares the death out of me. I mean, she will, but she likes driving. I just don't like driving it with her, so. And we're starting to take a few trips. We're not really staying in it full time. We're just going on the 3 or 4 trips because we got the kiddos now. So I'll show you that one over there, but it's a small little bus, just a little A. Anyway, really nice sound system. The speakers are killer, like I said. It's got a TV up here. You can, and that's part of the reason they did it like this. So you can drive down the road going in it. It's got cabinets galore. All right, now you're in for a treat. And that's a speaker cover that's just gonna come off. So super nice seat here, rotates around, reclines fully. This can be a nice place just to lounge. Little table, and you can put some drinks on. Nice lounger up here. The seats are actually in pretty good shape. I mean, considering there's really no tear. Well, I take that back. There's a little seam tore there, but that could be easily fixed. Full captain's chairs, armrests. There's the curtain slides all the way around. It's in good shape. But look at this thing. So it was updated before we owned it, which is nice. They the lady that had it before us, her and her husband, she did all the decor, and she did a really, well, my wife says a cute job, but it's just like a cool, you know, the license plate wallpaper and a couple tags for motorcycles. And we were really into motorcycling. We still are. We had a double bike rack. I didn't really show you this yet, but obviously there's a hitch on the back. There's also a hitch on the front. I've literally, without a trailer, pulled 4 bikes, double rack. Matter of fact, you can see it right there. That's one of them. We have 2 of those. See, and you can ride 2 there and 2 up front. I thought it was really unnerving in the beginning because of that air ride, because you really do kind of float through the things. But it's crazy. I mean, even on big whoops, you're nowhere near come down enough. I usually put the heavy bike at the, and I talk heavy, about 280, 300 at the, closer to the cab, and then the lighter ones out to the front. Just distribute it out, but it works amazing. So, That fixture needs to be replaced. So I'm going to go through things. I'll show you good things that are good, things that need to be touched up, or maybe just aesthetic. And this guy here is cracked. I don't know why it cracked there. Maybe even an install. Not sure, but this stuff looks fancy. It's not. It's plastic. And you probably know that again if you know these things. You probably could put a stainless steel one in. I'm sure the big buses do. Back in the day, this was the cream of the crop. I mean, obviously, you've got, you know, way more fancier and stuff. And there was probably top brands over it. But it's a Freightliner chassis, so it's built basically like a semi is. It's super strong. It's got full central air. So it's all these ducts that you see up here go all the way across. Okay. Those are all channels built into these AC units. And there's one here, and then there's one in back. So even if you have only one running, they all come out of these vents. If you're only using one part of the bus, and this is the heater as well, so it's both. Or wait, no, maybe the heater's only the floor. I think the heater's just the floor, the AC is just the roof. But point is that if you're running that AC back there, you can get flow all the way up here. If you're running this one, flow all the way up, and you have both of them, and then it's really cooking. You get flow everywhere. If you don't like, you know, you're not using the front, you're not using the back, but you're in Arizona heat, you need, you know, super cold up here, you just go through and some of these are a little bit more worn out, but they, for the most part, close up. You have a vented heat, or a vented here, give you a little circulation, lots of lighting, cabinetry, tons of cabinets, okay, all there. And these are pretty good sized cabinets. I mean, there's plenty of room in there. Even these little ones, which is kind of funny, but they still come in super handy. For just little McNecky stuff. I mean, there's cabinets everywhere in this thing. I know women always love the cabinets, although I'm kind of a cabinet guy too myself. So lots of cabinets, okay? Lots of top cabinets. Nice big sink, double sink. Okay. I think this is I don't know if it's soap or water. I don't know if we've ever used that thing. Lots of cabinets down here, full oven, microwave. There's a couple aesthetics. There's a little bit of a crack there. This has been fixed. This again was actually before we had it. There's the stoves under here, which is nice because you get we never use this thing. I don't think, maybe one time we've used that thing. It works great, just never use it. Fuse panel down there. I'll get to this. This is some neat things on it. It's got a full fridge, and it's a Norcold. This thing works. You can, I know they say you don't have to drive, you shouldn't drive down the road with it going, but we've always done it, and the thing, it will freeze solid in the fridge or the freezer. It will, if you get cold enough in the fridge, you'll freeze stuff in there too. But we usually set it to where it kind of isolates it out to one. And it's got a ton of, look, nice deep, lots of here. Matter of fact, this thing's on right now. It's nice and cool in here already. You can see it's on AC power right now. So, okay, nice big freezer. Lots of storage under here. Look at all that. Even where all the plumbing should be, it's got a ton. They did a good job cleaning all that up. Lots of drawers. Lift up. They got little catches, so if they don't slide out where you're driving. Actually, we've hardly ever, and I had trailers that used to just dump every time you hit a corner or bounce. This thing, almost all these have little keepers on them, and they all work pretty good. I don't think any of these open up. This is a panel. Yeah. So there's a kind of a main switchboard area in here. See that washer dryer? Yes, it's plumbed in for a washer and dryer. We have never used that, but it has it. Here's your solar connectors. You can see the wattage there. You're getting 14 and a half, give or take. Okay. Your generator start, you have, remember, there's two of these. There's one here and there's one up there. So if you're driving down the road, want to kick the ACs on, you hit the generator button, it'll fire them up. I don't have any propane in it right now, but I can get some in it later. And let's see, water heater, water pump, and then level test. That's your black, your gray, your batteries, kind of everything. So storage, tons of storage under here. I think there's, is there storage? I think this thing is just one big, this is just one big thing here. There's storage even back behind the couch. I think Kira's cleaned all this for the most part. All the original owner's manuals. I have them all. I mean, it's got, like I said, a little aesthetics here and there, but it's a super solid unit. I'll show you the slide, how it works. It's super easy. I want to get done with photos and everything first, so I'll have to probably do a different video of that. And I have to pee like a racehorse right now, so not that you need to know that, but I'm kind of fidgeting as I'm walking. So, okay, little lever here. So this is nice and locked. Pull down on it. Oh, look at all that. All cup space. That's where we put our cups and mugs. Lots of, very strong. You got your dividers here. They function. You gotta close the door here. Okay. And then there's little latches on them to keep them from rolling open. Just pop them around, do that guy. Okay. Closet space. Lots of closet space. Now these are where your, there you go, fully plumbed in, ready to rock. You can get a little washer dryer combo, or just one or the other, whatever you want. Stackable, you can take this shelf out. Get a stackable in here, okay? There's your Sun Cruiser 34V, original stuff on it. The original purchase price of this bad boy was $140,000. The receipts are still in that orange manual. Entertainment sub is what we use this top area for the TV in the back. Closet area here. I think she had some rods up. Yeah, she still does. Anything that you see is coming with it. And there's nothing we're taking out. TVs are yours. Only part of carpet in this whole bus is back here, just to have a little more comfortable in the back with your feet getting out of bed. Personally, I would probably do the same stuff they did here, or tile or something back there, just to minimize carpet exposure. But I'm not a big carpet fan. Some people are, so my wife is. That's the reason. It's got an original tub and shower, fully works. It's got a really nice high flow water pump. I can fit in this shower. Like, I'm 6'3". Okay, I shouldn't get it on my shoes, but I'm going to. Okay, I'm standing. My knees are not bent. I still got another. I have my ball cap on right now, but there's another 2 inches above me. So now clearly I'm above this guy here. All this filler, this caulking is just hastily done. I did this. I didn't want it leaking behind it. I had to replace a pipe in it once, and when I put it all back together, I didn't find the right color. But if you care about that, redo that. I foamed in some areas. Again, I didn't want water getting behind it, around it, anything like that. The lady, she just did like this light brush on it and did these blue. They're out in the bedroom as well. There's your toilet stuff. Make it smell nice. There's no bad smells. This is in good shape. Our new one, our little one we just bought, I added a taller toilet. Oh, it's amazing. I wish I would have found one of those in here. It would work in here, obviously. I just didn't even know they existed. A little bit of trim work there. Needs to be re-glued or redone. And then she's done, Kira's done most of this stuff, just to kind of clean it up a little bit, make it look a little nicer. It was just like a normal old school. This is kind of like a rubbery wallpaper, waterproof. Other stuff was like paper, and it looks amazing. She surprised me with that. Did an amazing job. So sinks back here, obviously, plenty of cabinets down through here, curtain area, and then you got your your whatever that thing is. Towels hang up on the back. And again, the lady we got it from, her and her husband, they're the ones that painted this. This is just the normal, you know, those were black. Those weren't black. Even out here, this was all painted. They did the dark, kind of a light brush, so you could see like the original. So it had that tan. I don't know what it had for carpet, probably, I would imagine. And then she did this bluish, almost turquoise color, really pretty actually. Controllers here and here, and then you have your big boy going for your ACs. It shows you your amperage when you're pulled into shore, blah, blah. There's a little bit of the carpeting that's starting to sag a little bit. I don't know if this was added. Might have been added. Oh, I think it was. Yeah, it definitely was. So it probably had this original material up here is more like a white color. They've put some glue on it here, so it's got like a yellowish color now. but that probably just didn't go with what they were hoping for these, maybe, or gave it more insulation. I'm not really sure. So you can kind of see this stuff is droopy a little bit, but the actual stuff underneath is super solid. It's got lots of ribbing in it for roof supporting. What else would you want to know? Lights, obviously these all work. They're all been switched to LEDs. Cabinets down here, cabinets down here. I think the curtains left here. Yeah, there it is. So there's curtains here. Window cranks open, they open and close. This one's missing the screens, probably thanks to one of my kiddos. I'm not sure if we even have these around, so you would want screens in this, so that would be something you'd want to add. And I tell you why, because if you don't, you're gonna have bugs and skeeters coming in when you're camping. So that one's got them, so you get a little bit of air right now, but I would screen this, rescreen these before you, like I said, open this up. This is your emergency exit window. So there's a fire, there's emergency, somebody's got to get out. These guys pop them up. I've tried it